When you watch Formula One, you see 20 cars battling for victory, drivers pushing to their limits, and teams celebrating on the podium. But the biggest race begins long after the checkered flag falls. Within hours, hundreds of trucks carrying thousands of tons of equipment begin a race against time. If even one convoy falls behind schedule, the next Grand Prix might never happen. The real engine of Formula One isn't just the cars, it's one of the world's most extraordinary logistics operations. Most people think Formula One is simply the fastest motorsport in the world. In reality, it's also one of the fastest and most demanding logistics operations ever created. The cars may capture all the attention, but they're only a small part of what travels from one race to the next. Behind every Grand Prix is an enormous operation that must move across countries, and sometimes entire continents, in just a matter of days. The real challenge isn't simply building a fast racing car. It's rebuilding an entire racing team before the next race weekend even begins. Think about what an F1 team actually needs to compete. There are the two race cars everyone sees on television, but those cars are only the finished product. Hidden behind them is a complete mobile factory. Every spare front wing, suspension component, engine, gearbox, diagnostic computer, radio system, tool, replacement part, server, monitor, cable, and lighting rig has to travel with the team. Add the complete garage structure, flooring, wall panels, compressed air systems, and electrical equipment, and it quickly becomes clear that Formula One teams aren't simply transporting race cars. They're transporting everything needed to build, repair, analyze, and race those cars under incredibly tight deadlines. Now, zoom out and imagine all 10 Formula One teams doing exactly the same thing. Then add Formula One's own operational equipment, television broadcast systems, race control infrastructure, timing equipment, medical facilities, hospitality buildings, and sponsor structures. Suddenly, you're no longer looking at a racing championship. You're looking at an entire temporary city that must be dismantled, transported, and rebuilt every single week. This is where the trucks become the true heroes of Formula One. During the European season, most of the equipment moves by road because trucks offer something airplanes simply can't: flexibility. They can leave the circuit as soon as packing begins, adjust their routes if traffic or road conditions change, and deliver equipment directly to the next circuit without additional handling or transfers. But these aren't ordinary freight trucks carrying a few crates. Many of them transport complete garage structures. When television cameras show an F1 garage on Friday morning, it looks like a permanent workshop that has always been there. In reality, only a few days earlier, that same garage existed as hundreds of carefully packed components inside trailers. The floors, walls, lighting systems, electrical distribution, compressed air lines, networking equipment, pit wall consoles, and tool cabinets all arrive separately before being assembled into a fully functioning workspace. The same process happens with the team's hospitality units. What appears to be a luxurious building with offices, meeting rooms, kitchens, and restaurants is actually a collection of trailers that transform into a temporary headquarters within days. By the time drivers arrive at the circuit, mechanics, engineers, and support staff are working inside what feels like a permanent facility, even though it was built from scratch only hours earlier. Here's the remarkable part. The moment the race ends, the entire process begins in reverse. While fans celebrate the winner and the podium ceremony continues, crews are already disconnecting equipment, packing spare parts, dismantling garage structures, and loading trailers. Every minute counts because the next Grand Prix is already waiting. In Formula One, the checkered flag doesn't signal the end of the race. It marks the beginning of another one, where trucks, not racing cars, compete against the clock. On paper, Formula One's schedule doesn't seem impossible. A race finishes on Sunday, and the next event begins only a few days later. That sounds like plenty of time, until you look at everything that has to happen in between. Those few days must include dismantling the entire paddock, loading hundreds of trucks, transporting thousands of tons of equipment across multiple countries, unloading every trailer, rebuilding every garage, reconnecting power and communication systems, inspecting every race car, and making sure everything is ready before the next practice session begins. The clock starts ticking the moment the checkered flag falls. Within minutes, mechanics begin removing equipment that is no longer needed. Spare wings are packed away. Backup engines are secured inside transport cases. Computer systems are disconnected, and tool cabinets are sealed. While fans are still leaving the grandstands, the first trailers are already being loaded. Within a few hours, the first convoy is rolling toward the next circuit. Every minute matters because a small delay at the beginning quickly becomes a much bigger problem later. If loading takes longer than expected, trucks arrive later. If trucks arrive later, garage construction begins later. If the garage isn't finished on time, mechanics can't prepare the cars. Suddenly, a delay of just 1 hour can affect an entire race weekend. Most people imagine every truck carrying the same kind of equipment, but Formula One logistics are carefully planned to avoid exactly that situation. Every trailer has a specific purpose. One may carry the garage flooring, another the wall panels, another the electrical systems, while another transports pit wall equipment or hospitality infrastructure. Each load is part of a carefully organized sequence. Imagine if the truck carrying the garage floor is delayed. Mechanics can't begin building the garage because there's no floor to work on. The electrical team can't install power because the walls haven't been assembled. The engineers can't set up their workstations because the networking equipment hasn't been installed. Everything depends on everything else. That's why Formula One teams don't simply send one giant convoy and hope for the best. Critical equipment is often dispatched first, while less essential items follow later. Departure times are staggered, routes are carefully planned, and backup plans are prepared long before the trucks even leave the circuit. The objective isn't just to move equipment, it's to eliminate as much risk as possible. The drivers themselves also play a crucial role. During busy European schedules, many trucks operate with multiple drivers, allowing the journey to continue with minimal stops while still complying with driving hour regulations. Fuel stops are carefully timed, routes are monitored in real time, and every convoy is coordinated to arrive exactly when the circuit is ready to receive it. The trucks aren't simply driving from one race to another, they're racing against the calendar. And unlike the drivers on Sunday, they don't have the luxury of making mistakes. Moving Formula One around Europe is an extraordinary challenge, but moving it across continents is even more demanding. Trucks still play a critical role, but now they become part of a much larger transportation network involving cargo aircraft, airports, customs officials, and local logistics crews. After a European race, selected equipment is loaded directly onto trucks and driven to nearby cargo airports. There, pallets containing race cars, garage equipment, tools, and electronics are transferred onto dedicated cargo aircraft for the journey to the next international destination. But here's something most fans never realize. The airplanes don't deliver the equipment to the circuit. The trucks do. When the aircraft lands, local trucking teams are already waiting. Every pallet must clear customs, be unloaded in the correct sequence, loaded onto waiting trailers, and transported to the circuit. Only then can teams begin rebuilding their garages. Even after crossing thousands of miles through the air, the final and most important stage still happens on the road. The importance of trucking became especially clear when global shipping disruptions delayed freight heading to one Formula One event. Equipment that normally traveled by sea failed to arrive on schedule, putting several teams at risk of missing critical infrastructure needed to build their garages. Emergency cargo aircraft were arranged to recover the delayed freight, allowing the equipment to reach the destination country much faster. But even after those planes landed, the job wasn't finished. Trucks immediately took over, transporting every container from the airport to the circuit, coordinating arrival times, clearing customs, and ensuring each team received its equipment in the correct order. That incident revealed something fascinating. Formula One isn't fragile because the cars are complicated. It's fragile because the schedule is. Every stage depends on perfect timing, and trucks connect every part of that chain. As the Formula One calendar continues expanding with more races spread across the globe, logistics becomes even more important. Teams are constantly searching for ways to move equipment faster, reduce fuel consumption, improve route planning, and lower emissions without sacrificing reliability. Modern convoy management now relies on GPS tracking, digital scheduling, real-time traffic monitoring, and increasingly efficient transport planning. Small improvements made across hundreds of trucks quickly become enormous savings over an entire season. Every unnecessary mile avoided saves fuel, reduces costs, and helps teams meet increasingly ambitious sustainability goals. The remarkable thing is that none of these improvements make a racing car any faster. Instead, they make it possible for the racing cars to arrive exactly where they need to be, exactly when they need to be there. That's the hidden championship most people never see. Formula One isn't powered by race cars alone. It's powered by hundreds of trucks racing against time. If you enjoyed this hidden story, subscribe and join us for the next engineering mystery behind motorsport.